Right.
And so I'm not going to enforce my story on them. I don't want to look like a jerk, you know. So I think last time I left off was basically like in college. I was struggling, being a womanizer, all this stuff. And, you know, I struggled all the way through college. Like, no joke, by the grace of Jesus Christ himself, I graduated. And there were so many moments I can remember, like, it was just literally God just doing his thing. And I couldn't take credit for any of it. So anyways, I ended up finishing. I moved to Nashville. And it got like 10 times worse because I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends. And everybody I thought I was friends with were fake. Like with 3 A's, fake. Fake. So fake. And it was like, yeah, it was just so disingenuous. And I had friends that weren't really friends. So I didn't feel like I fit in. More rejection, right? And I got kind of like you, Cordero, I got to the same point where I was just like, I cannot do this anymore. I hate my job. I hate where I live by myself. I hate this city. This is not the life I thought I was going to have.
Right.
And I just kind of had the same thing where I was like, basically, like, God, I don't know what to do next, you know. And mind you, this whole time, my mom had always struggled with, like, bipolar, anxiety, depression. She never verbalized that, but we kind of assumed it. So maybe we're wrong, but it was hard. Like, she would snap on us in a second.
Ooh.
And so I felt like at the time I inherited a lot of that, like, anxiety and depression. So I'm like you, like, I was drinking all the time to suppress all these, like, depressive thoughts. And, you know, I had one good friend. His name's Nathan. Shout out, Nathan. Best friend ever. Love you. You're the man. Kept me just sane. You know, I had some phone calls with him when I lived in Nashville. He just kept me, like, sane and kind of talked me off the ledge literally a couple times. And long story short, man, I knew about Highlands from Huntsville. And I watched online like one Sunday when I was in Nashville, and then I think I watched like a prayer service or something during the week, and I was like, I remember journaling. I was like writing in this thing, trying to basically like figure out what I was going to do because I hated life.
Right.
And I mean, God just intervened and like literally visited my apartment and was like, I mean, not in the flesh, y'all, but basically told me straight up, I want you to quit your job and move back to Huntsville. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't do that. So I ended up quitting, and I called my dad, who's like, you know, we're not really friends, but he's still my dad. And so I call him. I'm like, hey, I'm quitting my job. I need to move back home. Can I come stay with you? Because he had an extra bedroom. And he was like so mad at me.
Did you quit your job?
So mad. Like, literally, bro, I could hear in his voice how angry he was. And I really don't remember if he said no and hung up on me or if he was like, sure, whatever. Basically, he was mad. And I called him back and was like, I need you. Like, I need you to be my dad right now and come get me. And so he got a trailer and drove to Nashville, helped me unload my apartment. I quit my job. And my job was toxic, by the way, while we're on the topic. My job was toxic. And I moved back to Huntsville, no job. Like, no nothing, no direction. Like, what the heck is going on? My entire family was like, you're an idiot. I can't believe you're doing this. You heard from God. Okay, whatever. You know, like, nobody believed in me. And so, long story short, it has taken a while. But I ended up getting a job that year in Huntsville. And I went through this small group that we have at our church called Freedom.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's
Shout
go.
out to Freedom.
CD's in it right now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up, like, going through it, got healed of all this stuff. Like, literally, Jesus, you know, helped me out so much. And I'm, like, literally getting freedom from all these things that, like, you know, held me bound for so long. And I literally, bro, on my birthday in December of 2016, I rode home from Huntsville with my roommate, or my friend from the conference, from Freedom Conference. It used to be in Birmingham. So we're driving back from Birmingham to Huntsville, and my family was waiting on me at a restaurant because it was my birthday. And they were like, we're going to go out for Sam's birthday after he gets back from this conference, whatever. So I had got re-baptized at this conference because that's what I felt like I needed to do. And I was baptized as a kid, and, I was genuine and all that. But I really felt like I needed to redo it. So I literally get in this restaurant. I'm, like, so pumped to tell my family, like, all that happened and everything. I get in the restaurant, and my dad's sitting right next to me, and they're like, hey, how was the conference? I was like, it was great. I got baptized again. And my dad looks me square in my face, and he goes, why? Isn't once enough? I was crushed, bro. I was crushed. I was like, I can't believe he just said that. Like, literally, that was so mean. Like, I was just like, I legit can't believe he just said that to me. And I had a firm, stern talking to with the Lord that night. I was like, God, I can't believe you do me like this, blah, blah, blah. My dad turned on me. The typical complaining to God about stuff that's happening. And it was real, but I was living with my dad still at the time, and he was just so, I guess, bitter. I don't know. I didn't even know the word. But basically, I'm going to our church trying to, like, get healed of all this stuff. Meanwhile, my dad is just, like, ragging on me for going. He's like, why do you spend all the time at this stupid church? Like, I can't believe you go and do all this stuff. So this is 2016, 2017? 2016. And so I literally move out. I was like, I'm done. I can't live with this man anymore. I'm done. I move out. And mind you, none of my family, maybe one of my sisters was going to Highlands at the time. And my family lives in Huntsville. And I move out, get my own place with a roommate, and we were renting this house. Wouldn't you know, a couple months later, guess who's at church? My dad. I'm like, okay, this dude, freaking fake. Really? I'm like, this guy's so fake. I can't believe he's here. And the worst part, bro, is everybody's coming up to me. Your dad is so awesome. He's the best. I'm like, really? Because I don't see it. Because I'm blinded by all these things he's done to me. Like,
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm not perfect by any means. And I'm not saying I was in the right place to judge my dad. But at the same time, he had, like, wounded me for years. And now he's just going to turn up at a church that I happen to go to when he just literally ragged me. And my mom did too, by the way. Ragged me for going to this church.
Right.
And they're going to show up and act like everything's cool.
Yeah. See, I think that goes back into what I learned in Freedom this week. And that's those four areas that we had trouble with. And the rejection, and the bitterness, and selfishness, and all that good stuff.
And the thing is, like, at this point, I was technically, air quotes again, y'all, technically free from all this, but it was a process. Like, it's a process to not be bitter at people who, like, basically made fun of you for doing these things you thought was going to heal you. And so, anyways, let me get back to, like, why the point I'm telling this story. Long story short, y'all, my dad, like, got plugged in. So did my mom. So did my sisters. Like, my whole family is at our church now. And it's crazy. And they're totally different. My dad is a completely different person.
Dude.
CD will tell you.
I know your dad. This is the thing. Your dad does growth tracking.
Right.
So, what you're telling me...
And you've only seen the good side of him.
Look. So, what I'm listening to is not the guy...
Complete opposite.
...that I see when I go to church.
Right.
When we're sitting in DTC, I don't see this guy. I see, hey, dude, what's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, not much. I do. Yeah, yeah, it's awesome.
And he is, and he really is. And we're not saying that he's fake. We're saying he's gotten his own healing from all this stuff. And so, long story short, he actually went through Freedom, and I was at the conference, and my friends forced me to pray for him. They literally were like, you're going to go pray for your dad. I was like, I'm not doing it. They were like, get up there. They drugged me up there. They're like, you need to pray for your dad. Like, y'all have to get healed from whatever this bitterness is. Yeah. And so, literally, like, I prayed for him, and we've been growing ever since. And we're closer than we've ever been because he's finally, like, somewhat, very, very somewhat, being honest with me about stuff. And so, all that being said, it's a process. And our parents only do the best that they know how to raise us. because that's how they were raised. So you only do what you know, right?
Yeah.
And we're the same way with our kids. But if you literally, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over. So if you raise kids that have kids that have kids that have kids, and y'all all do the same thing over and over, you're not going to get different results.
No.
You've got to do something different if you want different results, especially for your children. And so, like, obviously, for me and Cordero, like, God has had to intervene. And that's what he does best. But, I mean, I can't do it on my own. I don't know how to be a parent, husband, a friend, any of that without Jesus. Like, I don't know how. So, when I married Emily, I said, look, my family is not going to be someone who doesn't communicate well. So, we're not going to be a family who doesn't know how to communicate our feelings, who doesn't know how to communicate basically problems. And so when I married her, so we're going to have open communication. Like, if we have kids, when we have kids, I just want us to be really upfront and be honest, because we swept everything under the rug. So me and Emily have tried to, obviously our kid's one, so he's not talking. So it ain't that hard right now with communication, right?
No.
But we really, really have to be intentional about about airing stuff out. Like, if there's an issue in our house, like, you better talk about it. And I heard, let me tell you what I heard the other day that I thought was, like, the coolest crap ever. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to buy, I'm an Auburn fan, by the way. I hate Alabama. I hate them.
We don't care. Roll
I
Tide.
hate them. But I'm going to buy a stuffed elephant, and in the next couple years, I'm going to buy a stuffed elephant and put it in our house and put it right on the kitchen table. Because every time somebody has a problem, the elephant is a metaphor for there's an elephant in the room, you're going to talk about it. We're not keeping stuff under the table because that destroys families. So I heard this dude speak the other day who was like, it was the coach of the LA Rams, the football team.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's Toronto Raptors. That's why they won a championship. It was Toronto Raptors. The coach of the Toronto Raptors has an elephant on his desk. And every time somebody, a player, a staff member, anybody walks in his office, he has an elephant sitting on the desk. He says, whatever you got to say, if it's an elephant in the room, you're going to talk about it. Why do you think they won a championship? Communication.
Communication.
Okay. So why would I not do the same thing in my household? Dude, that struck me. I was like, crap, I got to do that.
Guess we got to go get some elephants.
So I hate elephants, but
no one cares, okay?
I love that. That's like the coolest principle ever. And I, can I tell my story about what happened with my mom? Because I promised you I would.
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Let's see. You got 16 minutes.
All right, I'll make it real quick, and then we can kind of give people the nuggets that they want. All right. Last weekend, my mom and my mom is a nurse, and she was like, "How's your week?" And I was like, "Oh, it's good. How was yours?" She's like, "It was stressful." I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "I had to come up with a plan for the coronavirus in Huntsville for the Madison County school systems in 3 hours." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, that is stressful. That's crazy." I said, "Isn't the coronavirus kind of like the flu?" And she said, "Yeah, I mean, it's the same symptoms, but it's different because there's no vaccine for it." And I said, "Well, there's a vaccine for the flu, but it doesn't prevent you from getting the flu." And she was like, "Yeah, I know that." I was like, "Well, I mean, if you get a flu shot and you get the flu, you still got the flu." Like, so anyways, it was this whole conversation about vaccines. My family has some values that are different than how I was raised. I'll just say that. And it did not go well. My mom was like, and I said, "Mom, we've made some decisions as a family that I know you don't agree with, and you have not said a word about it. Like, not a word. And I know there's tension, and I know you're mad about it. Can we just talk about it? Like, I'm not asking you to come to my side or convert or whatever. I just want to be able to talk about this." and she blows up, dude. Like super defensive.